Hello, I'm J.R. Pandy, the No BS Gardener, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite shrubs, hydrangeas. We're going to talk about different varieties, how to turn them blue, how to turn them pink, when to properly prune them so you get optimum buds. I'm standing here next to a limelight hydrangea. It's been in one of our display gardens for about, I think, 2-3 seasons, and just amazing the size. You can see in relation to my hand the size of these blossoms that are on here. What's great about these is they come out kind of white. They turn a little limey green. That's where I think they get their name, limelight. And they're just loaded with blossoms. And with the rain that we've had this season, hydrangeas are just flowering like crazy. So there's basically 4 different types of hydrangeas. The first one I'm showing you here is a macrophylla hydrangea. These are probably the most popular of the varieties. Large, lush, big snowball type blossoms, come in all different colors. This one actually is Merit Supreme, which is a red, which as you can see is kind of, they fade towards the end, they kind of go purplish, and it all depends about the pH in your soil. Macrophylla type of hydrangea. Just want to show you some of the colors that are available. So what I'm showing you here is a Nikko blue variety where you can see the coloration, that bluish tinge. And then as we pan over here, this one actually looks red. The variety of this is Pink Beauty. And what I'd like to talk about now is, you know, the pH of your soil. And what that has to do with everything is you can take any blue hydrangea, make it pink. You can take any pink hydrangea, make it blue. The 2 things that you'd want to use if you really want the deep blue is a product called aluminum sulfate, and you put that on in the spring. You can do it during the summer as well. You can either throw it on in a granular formulation or actually mix it with water, like in a watering can, spill it on because it's water soluble, and that'll help sour your soil. The more sour your soil, the deeper blue you're going to get. The other extent is to go, if you like pink, add agricultural limestone, hydrated lime, right around the base of the tree. That'll sweeten your soil. It'll make it more pink, again, varying the pH of that color. Now, if you do have white hydrangeas, I'm sorry, you're stuck with those being white. You cannot change the color of those. So the newer varieties of hydrangeas that are out are called remontant varieties of hydrangeas. And remontant basically means ever blooming. Now, as we pan on this, this is actually an endless summer hydrangea. And what's great about these is that they bloom on old wood, new wood. I have a lot of people that call in and say that my hydrangeas are beautiful, they're huge, they're gorgeous, but they never get any blooms. And my answer to that is timing of pruning. Sometimes if we get a late killing frost, or if you go out in any time after August and trim your hydrangea, you actually could be cutting off your blossoms for the next season. So if you don't know what kind of variety of hydrangea you have, the best time to prune them is right after that last blossom falls, June, July, later on some of the other varieties. You can take them down almost to the ground. I'd suggest leaving them up 6 inches or so, because then when August rolls around, September, there's filling up, their buds are producing, filling up with energy, the sugars in that, so that they'll bloom the next year. So you never want to prune them in fall. The initial varieties, the macrophyllas, and again, I love endless summer or forever and ever hydrangeas, because they are ever blooming, meaning you could go out there, trim them anytime, and they're going to flush out more blossoms. And we're just going to touch on some of the different varieties of endless summer. Now what we're showing you here is a peppermint hydrangea, and you can see the striations of pink with white, and this one's got a little bit sweetness in the soil. On the same plant, which is very cool, is the same peppermint, but you can see the bluish purple tin in that, which I think this is a very, very cool variety. And again, this is a ever blooming variety and forever and ever. Now this particular variety of forever and ever is called Together Forever. And I don't know if you can notice there, but you actually have like a double, almost a triple blossom in each one of the florets. As you can see here, it's kind of pinkish, and then as they fade, in this instance, just a real rich, deep, almost burgundy red. So that's the cool thing about hydrangeas. You never know what you're going to get out of them. This particular variety, again in the Forever and Ever Blooming series, is called Peace, and you can see kind of a double blossom. Love the name of this. This is great to give as a gift, especially for a lost one. Now this variety here is called Fantasia in the Forever and Ever series. Starts out kind of pinkish white. I love the different, almost serrated edging of the petals, and then later on, actually on the same plant, we've almost got a white with a brushstroke red in there. This guy here is my favorite hydrangea of the year. It's a new one out by Forever and Ever. It's called Pistachio. And just look at the color on the inside, that almost fluorescent blue surrounded by the pinkish red. And actually when they do come out initially, they do have a little bit of lime green on the edges. So just very, very cool plant. Definitely a head turner in any garden. So to finish up on the macrophylla varieties of hydrangeas, they actually, I love the ever blooming. Anything Endless Summer, Forever and Ever. I think there's 8 varieties in the Forever Ever series, and you know how to alter the color of those. You kind of know how to trim those now. If you do have an ever bloomer, you can kind of be brutal with those. You can trim them anytime, spring, fall, whenever. Again, the old style, if you don't know, I would prune it just in June, early July, right after the flowers kind of stop. That's the best time. You've got a 2-3 week window there. And then, hydrangeas actually, they like shaded from that afternoon hot sun. But I do have a lot of people that take like the Endless Summer and the Forever and Evers, and they'll plant them in full sun. That first season while they're getting established, actually you're going to have some wilt in that afternoon sun because they don't have their feeder roots out and can't take up enough moisture. So if you can kind of baby those along the way, I know a lot of commercial properties around in our area have them planted, and they are just absolutely dynamite, and they will tolerate full sun. But it is a little bit more maintenance to get them established originally. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the paniculata varieties, or the PG varieties of hydrangeas. These bloom a little later than the macrophyllas, and what's nice about those, as you can pan around, is they start out almost triangular in shape here. Best I'm pruning on these is to do it early spring or late fall. You want to kind of thin out the plants, and because they bloom on all new wood. If we pan back there, this particular variety, I believe, is called Pinky Winky, comes out white, and then as they mature, they kind of get a pink at the bottom, which kind of takes it all the way up and turns into almost burgundy hues. Another thing I like about the paniculatas is you can actually train them into a tree form. This guy here is called Quickfire. Quickfire is the first one of these hydrangeas that actually blooms in the season, and we're kind of getting at the end of the blossom here, and they're starting to turn pink and burgundy. The hydrangeas just in the paniculata varieties, they just really give a great fall show. Another one over here, we saw this earlier, Limelight, just a great big blossom. Give these guys room to grow because they have the potential of getting 6 to 8 feet tall. I do have a variety called Bobo, which we'll go to next, which is a dwarf variety, and it is just literally loaded with blossoms, and it stays right around, say, 3 feet tall to maybe 4 feet wide, and that is an excellent plant. Okay, and here's Bobo. Bobo was a gold medal award-winning plant, and this is just a small 2-gallon pot, and it is just literally loaded with blossoms. Just counting real quick, there must be 25, 30 different blossoms on it. You know, it's a miniature version of the paniculatas. You can see it resembles the same trident type of flower, but it's just literally loaded, loaded, loaded. And next to us here, I forgot to mention, is one of the lace caps. Lace caps actually have petals around the outside and like almost little flowers in the middle or florets that don't seem to open. It's kind of a unique flower, and very cool as it matures. So this guy here is our next variety, and what it is, it's called an oakleaf hydrangea or quercifolia. And the thing that's kind of unique about these is they do have the trident color of trident shape of flowers. They come out white, and then they'll fade to kind of a pinkish burgundy. But the oak leaf is very cool in the fact that it has a leaf similar to an oak tree. And I've got a little spottiness on here from overhead watering, but these guys are great in a natural setting along the tree lines and such. You have to prune them similar to the first variety we talked about, the macrophyllas. After they get done blooming, you know, you can trim them then because you don't want to cut off your blossoms for the next season. Last variety I wanted to talk about is Annabelle style or type of hydrangeas. This particular one, and Annabelle's kind of at the end of its bloom now, is called Invincible Spirit, where if you purchase this, some of the money goes to breast cancer research, which I think is a great idea behind plants. And what's nice about these, or what you want to do, is they bloom on new growth. So in the spring of the season, you want to trim these back so you get a lot more flush of growth. And this one, typically an Annabelle, comes out white in kind of this semi-dome shape. They hybridize. This one's actually pink, and as it fades, it kind of changes to almost a reddish coloration. But a great plant as well. So one, we'll call this a bonus, an extra from the No BS Gardener. Variety of hydrangeas I almost forgot is the climbing hydrangea. Now this guy's been in maybe 3 years or so, and it gets little white blossoms on there. But if you have an area that's somewhat shaded, that you need something to kind of grow up on, and we put it on a trellis, it's just a real beautiful, fulfilled, almost a wedding gown-like effect to it. As they grow up and mature and flower, typically. Beautiful, beautiful plant, climbing hydrangea. Okay, and so to recap, if you want your hydrangeas blue, aluminum sulfate is what you want to use. If you want your hydrangeas pink, agricultural limestone, hydrated limestone, some type of lime, you want to put them around the base of the plant, sweeten that soil. Hopefully, we've answered some of your questions on pruning, changing colors, what varieties are out there on hydrangeas. I'm J.R. Pandy, the No BS Gardener, and thanks for watching.